I'm Sydney.
And I'm Amber, and today we're going to talk about our novels that we read for AP English 12.
I read The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger.
And I read Paper Towns by John Green. So Sid, what do you say that your book was about?
Well, my book's theme was the overall protection of innocence as a virtue by the main character. What was yours about?
I'd say that my main theme of Paper Towns is that time consistently changes individuals. Do you think that you've consistently changed over time?
Sure have, Amber.
Me too. Did you happen to find an important quote that's meaningful to you?
I did, actually.
And what would it be?
What really knocks me out is a book that, when you're all done reading it, you wish the author that wrote it was a terrific friend of yours, and you could call him up on the phone whenever you felt like it.
And why do you think that that's meaningful to you?
I think that quote is meaningful to me because I love to read. I never realized how often I like to read, and so it's interesting to see this emotion articulated for me by put into words, basically.
Wow,
Yeah.
Sounds so interesting.
What was your quote that you spoke to you?
Well, I'd say that my important quote was, "These stories, when they were shared, inevitably ended with, can you believe it? We often could not, but they always proved true." And I think that this quote is meaningful because it talks about how Margot, the main character in Paper Towns, is consistently changing through her high school career. And I think that that's important because I feel like it connects to me because I feel like I've changed a lot throughout my high school career.
Very smart, Amber. Good endpoint.
Do you happen to know any facts about your author?
As a matter of fact, I do. So, some fun facts about J.D. Salinger was that he was drafted into the war after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and his literary career was put on a pause. But it's also a fun fact because he wrote part of The Catcher in the Rye while he was at war.
Wow, really? I bet you can see the trauma in the novel, can't you?
Oh yeah.
Wow. I say one important fact about my book was that Paper Towns takes place in Orlando, which happens to be where John Green grew up. So you can see the connection between the book and his life.
Interesting. Do you have any fun fact about the book?
I do happen to have a fun fact about the book. John Green used his high school as inspiration for Paper Towns and his love for a girl that he had in high school.
One fun fact about my book was that it sold more than 65 million copies. Two connections with literary texts in my book, I connected one of them to The Great Gatsby because in many ways, Holden puts on an act when he speaks to other people and pretends to be someone he's not, which is similar to the way Gatsby lived his life by, you read The Great Gatsby, so you know what I'm talking about.
I also connected my literary book to The Great Gatsby because The Great Gatsby likes to put on an image for the rest of society, just as Margot does in her novel. She wants people to think that she's different so she doesn't blend in with the rest of the crowd in high school.
Smart.
Yeah. Did you happen to have anything else?
Yeah, another literary text I connected it to was in juxtaposition to Crime and Punishment because in Catcher in the Rye, they discuss the loss of innocence, but the main character keeps his. But in Crime and Punishment, the main character loses his when he murders two innocent women.
I also connected mine to Crime and Punishment because I feel as if Margot is trying to find her identity just as Raskolnikov is throughout the entire novel. Throughout the entire novel of Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov believes that he is a nihilist because he believes that he doesn't want to care about anything, just as Margot does throughout Paper Towns.
Very intelligent. So, why do you think people should read this book, and what does it offer to a reader of 2018?
I think that people should read Paper Towns because it connects to everyday life for high school students, and I believe they can use it as an outlet to explain why they might feel as if they need to stand out to the crowd and help them realize that it's okay to be different.
Interesting. I say that people should read this book because it's an interesting coming-of-age story and a valued piece of literature. And it can offer to the reader a different character perspective, as many coming-of-age stories involve the transition from childhood to adulthood, but this book focuses on just a main, I would say, teenager year in his life.
So does Paper Towns.
Nice.